New from Vinegar Syndrome is Steel and Lace, a movie that I really knew nothing about, had never heard of, came out in the early 80s and was a complete unknown entity to me. And the basically thing I picked up from the blurb about the release was it was a rape revenge movie, but it's not as sleazy, it's not as grimy, it's not as downbeat as those kind of movies. In fact, it takes a science fiction slant to it that really kind of makes it something fresh and a little bit different, and most definitely fun within this genre.
Your Honor, due to insufficient evidence, you find the defendant, Daniel Emerson, not guilty. Yes!
When we open up, we're at the start of a court case where a woman has put charges against several men for rape. The judge is bringing down the verdict and they all get off. She's heartbroken. It kind of flashbacks throughout this to kind of give you an idea of what's going on, but we're not forced to having to see the act of the rape for like 10-15 minutes, which usually kind of happens with exploitation movies. Thankfully, they keep that out of it. We get the idea of what goes on and the destruction of not being believed and not seeing justice come to the forefront. And she's there with her brother, played by Bruce Davison, at the court. They end up on the roof trying to get some fresh air away from reporters, and she takes the only way out, which is a head front dive off of the top of the building.
There's only one safe place now.
And we kind of cut to a number of years. The group of guys who were involved with the rape have a great business going. They're bully boy tactics. It's just a kind of fraternity feeling about them. They're horrible characters, really people that's fun to root against. And we see them as just horrible cannon fodder, waiting for some sort of revenge to come out. And what happens with this one, which was a real surprise for me, is the fact that Bruce Davison's character happens to be a scientist who works with mechanics, robotics, and has created a cyborg version of his sister, presumably from her corpse, to seek revenge on the men that caused her to lose her life. And it's so playful and fun, and it's that kind of science fiction 80s aesthetic that just shines within the movie. You get these wonderfully absurd deaths that are incredibly fun and playful with the realistic special effects that just bring that smile to your face. It's silly. But it's entertaining, and what more can you really want? Whether it be an almost Blender-like part going through a guy while he's in a bear hug, or a head being choked and ripped off simultaneously. The deaths are all over the top, fun, and just really interesting. They get side stories in this as well. We get a courtroom artist who kind of reconnects with a detective as they start to piece together the fact that all the people that are dying were the people involved within this court case and their kind of relationship as it leads to it. And even though they're kind of secondary and they're not super important or the main driving force of the movie, I kind of liked this couple. I liked their interactions. I liked how they kind of reconnected and how they were trying to solve the mystery of what was going on. Steel and Lace, it's just a pure fun, entertaining movie.
In the old business.
Mr. Chairman, I have something I'd like to put on the table.
It's not one of those ones that's over the top gory. It's not outlandish in its sleaze or sexuality, the way it pushes it forward. It feels as if it's skirting the edges there. Doesn't go into full exploitation. The kind of violence and revenge kills are really over the top. They're really fun, they're really exaggerated, and I loved a lot of the special effects. I feel that the practical effects really add a lot to this movie. Whether we see the skull of our cyborg, or whether we see some nasty contraption coming out of her to blend someone's inside, it's always fun. It's always entertaining and colourful. It's kind of like it feels really 80s in its whole makeup, and that's something that I really love from a nostalgic point of view, from an aesthetical point of view, and this kind of delivers on all that. I thought the performances were great. I love David Naughton turns up. I love Bruce Davison as the kind of brother who's dealing with grief in his own way, and his own way is to murder people. And I love the courtroom artist and her relationship with the cop as well. It's a movie that just pleased me. One that was a bit of a surprise, really enjoyable. Definitely got just a whole streak of fun all the way through it, and something that I can really recommend. Steel and Lace is one that I had never heard of, and I really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun with this one, and it's one that I could thoroughly recommend checking out. I'd love to know your thoughts on this movie. As always, there's more content of mine up here if you want to see more of my stuff. If you think that I deserve a like, hit that like button down below. Subscribe or share if you haven't done so already. And if you're feeling extra supportive in the festive season, join the membership program or Patreon for as little as 99p a month. You know, 99p a month, that's nothing. Absolute nothing. It'd be a great deal of help to me and my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.